Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Think Big podcast. That was an interesting new introduction for us, Sam. Today we're going to be having some Q&As. I have the one and only, the most handsome friend I have, Mr. Sam Singh himself. My name is Alejandro Alvarez. For those who wants to know what this podcast is about, it's pretty much what it says is the title, Think Big. If you're thinking small, if you want to make $10,000, we're going to encourage you to make $100,000. If you want to do that in 10 months, then we're going to do it in 1 month. So here you are. Mr. Sam, how are you today?
Dude, I'm good. I'm super good. I'm glad that we're getting to do an open Q&A today because it's something that we normally don't get to do. And I want to make sure we don't hold back more than anything else. I want to make sure that we can give people a lot of legitimate in their business value. And I think before we can get into that, I think it's really important. Excuse me, I'm just making sure people get on from Instagram here. What's really important to know is who you're taking advice from. That's a big thing for me. I don't take advice from basically anybody anymore unless they're making probably minimum 100 million or more. Like that's kind of like the ballpark that I'm at with my paid mentorship and the masterminding, the rooms that I pay to get into. So for me, like that's my barrier, that's my threshold. And it's always important to only learn from people who are ahead of you, in my honest opinion. So I think there's a lot of you guys here who may be beyond, where Alejandro is in his business, beyond where I'm at, beyond where Marlon is. So by all means, like, don't even listen to us. But if you're just getting started, if you're in the trenches, if you're a little bit on the newer side, if your business isn't where you want it to be right now, I think it's safe to say that, at least me and Alejandro, we definitely know what we're talking about when it comes down to scaling, especially a real estate investing business. But dude, I'm stoked on this. And today kind of sucks. We are not going to have our brother Marlon with us because Marlon, I believe, is in the sky right now.
Yeah, that's right.
You know where he's at? What's he doing?
No, I don't remember. I know he was saying something about it last week.
Well, let's do this, man. Okay, and it's all fine. I think he may jump on later. I don't know. Maybe he'll land off the plane and then he'll decide he misses us and wants to hang out with us for a little bit. But Alejandro, I want people to know, who it is that they're dealing with and who they're learning from. Let's talk a little bit about where you and I are at, okay, in our
Yeah.
businesses, what we're doing. So I'm gonna start with me. So first and foremost, like obviously I have a real estate investment business. We do acquisitions, we do tons of wholesale. We are completely shifting the focus away from wholesale. Not completely, we're still gonna do it. Don't get me wrong, I'm probably gonna do more wholesale deals than we've ever done. But the intention behind my business now is just to source properties for me to personally buy. And the reason why we're there is because I'm making good money. When you start making money, you have a huge tax issue that comes into play. So now I'm at a point where my entire business, we're really just revamping so many things, recalibrating things. I'm moving my directors around. I'm giving them new missions. And it's no longer going to be, and don't get me wrong, we're still going to do a ton of deals. We're still going to wholesale a ton of deals. But the approach really is how do we, grow my portfolio. So the cool thing with me is that I've gotten to, I started off being the broke guy who was not making money, then doing some deals and becoming a closer for other people, then starting my own business. And then we started scaling heavily and doing cash transactions. And then I'm now at a point now where, we do tons of cash, we do tons of creative. But the intention behind the business is shifting. The season the business is reflective of the season that I'm in. And I think that's really important to know. So a little bit about where my business is at currently. I'm happy to share this with you guys. We're doing really well. I mean, I think, let's see, we closed a $55,000 assignment today where we have probably about 150K left in escrow right now, in escrow to close. That's like signed. We're just waiting for stuff to close. And probably by the end of this year, we'll probably double that on a monthly basis. So we're probably by the end of this year going to be having consistent minimum 150 to 200K month over month. The intention with that truly is not even to grow that. The intention truly is for me to buy as much of that as possible. So we'll still pay ourselves back. There may be another $200,000 per month in assignment fees, but it may be me paying my own team because I'm buying all of them. That's the intention. And aside from that, I can't really talk about explicitly what it is because I'm under an NDA. But a lot of people don't know. And if you guys have been following me, you No, Anthony, a lot more. That's more of a monthly goal for where I'm at right now. Not a quarterly goal. It's a minimum month. So, anyways, a lot of people don't know this. People who follow me know that I love talking about business, right? I love talking about business. I love talking about scale. I love talking about optimizing different things. And I can't say what specifically because I am under an NDA, but a lot of people don't know I've been spending a ton of my time working on another business outside of real estate. And that business is freaking crushing. And we will be at well over $1 million per year in revenue uh, very, very soon, hopefully in the next couple of months, as long as we just do what we got to do. So I'm coming at this from a place of like, I understand real estate. I also understand business at a decently high level. So when we pour into you guys today, I want you guys to know who you're learning from. Alejandro, give us some intake on, some insight on your business, where things kind of stand right now.
Yeah, I would say for me, man, my business, we've been wholesaling for this company, been wholesaling since 2021, towards the end of 2021. We first month we did $3,000. Second month was probably closer to 12, and then the third month was 200 plus in the month. And after that, it started fluctuating. Sam, the roller coaster effect of wholesaling 80, 70, 50, 20, six figures here. You're like, oh crap, wait, should I take a vacation this month or not? Nope. So now we're in a position where we're implementing all the systems and everything we learned along the way to make it a consistent 250K plus is what we're leaning towards to every single month. So very similar to you, Sam. And I also have multiple other businesses outside of the wholesale operation. I'm a shareholder in a few smaller businesses and looking to expand into bigger businesses. Is what I'm looking for. And also, I don't know if you noticed, Sam, I started giving out more free content on Instagram on how the business operates.
Yeah, yeah, dude. It's something that I've noticed. One, you have some of the best looking, aesthetically looking videos out there, in my opinion, outside of any one of the communities that we're in. I think you take the cake, and you took a little bit of time where you took some time off, and I think you were just focusing on the business, focused on growing. And then now I'm so stoked to see you back in it, and dude, you are not holding back at all. So if you guys aren't following Alejandro on Instagram, at It's Really Alvarez, it's phenomenal what he's doing. So, and it's all free too. And it's amazing how much free content you're giving out, dude. I'm stoked on it because, like, selfishly, I save a lot of your videos. I never told you this, but I'm telling you now. So I actually save a lot of your videos.
Thank you, bro.
Dude, yeah, 100%. And here's something I want to hit on. You mentioned this, you guys, and I want everyone to understand this. There's no one right way, one wrong way. There are probably some really wrong ways, actually, but there's different approaches to scaling in business. Now, Alejandro mentioned, right, we both have real estate investment businesses, right? We both own properties, we both buy rentals, we both do tons of wholesale. That's all fine. We both do cash deals, creative. So I'm put all that to the side. The reality is, if you guys don't know this, you will never become a billionaire with a wholesale operation. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Never has happened, never will happen. If it does happen, it's going to be long after we're dead. The reality is there's multiple different approaches to becoming, worth billions of dollars down the road. And Alejandro and I, right now, and this may change down the road, and I'm sure it will, right? Right now, you and I have two different approaches where you have your real estate investment business, you have all your real estate stuff, but you are involved in multiple other businesses on this side, right? And I would say, generally speaking, you're probably not trying to scale any one of those to each one being 100 million. You're probably going to, scale them to 10, 20, 30 million, and then maybe resell them or hold them in a portfolio. And I would say a little bit more of the base hit kind of mentality behind small businesses, right? And owning small businesses, having equity. So that's a huge thing, right? We look at people like, I'm going to use, for example, someone huge who I respect on social media, Cody Sanchez. Cody Sanchez, who teaches business acquisitions, she is a huge advocate of owning as many small businesses as possible. So boring businesses, laundromats, car washes, all these little things, right? And are you ever going to scale a laundromat to $100 million? No, it's not possible. You can't do it. I mean, it might be possible, but no one's going to do it. No one has done it to my knowledge, and I don't think anyone should even try. But if you get enough laundromats and they're each doing maybe 7 figures a year, maybe a few extra. You bundle them together in a roll up and sell them for a 20-30 million dollar exit. Like, now it all makes sense. Now that's Cody Sanchez, right? She teaches the smaller kind of base hit approach. And then we look at guys like some that you and I look up to greatly, Alex Hormozi. He's not going after, he doesn't want 99 small businesses, right? He doesn't want 100, 1,000 small businesses. He wants 1 to 10 of the right ones, right? And the 1 to the 10s of the ones where he can scale them huge, 100 million plus, and then hold them. And I think that's his goal. So I think he really is going after a more potent game. And it's interesting where you and I stand right now, because I know about some of the other businesses that you've got going on, and then me, I'm at a point where I'm saying no to new businesses. I'm at a point where I'm like, actually, I'm shutting shit down. I'm not starting a new business. I'm turning things off to focus all my time and attention on like this other business that's truly, in my opinion, the one that's going to scale to potentially 9 figures plus. And so it's an interesting, different approach. And here's the thing, Alejandro, they're both right approaches. They both work. And they work because it's you behind it and it's me behind it. And I want everyone to understand that. It's like, the cool thing is, even between us, we approach, right now at least, being billionaires differently. And I think at some point, I'm probably going to get some smaller businesses that I have zero intention of scaling massively. I'm just going to go get a quick 2 million, 2 million a year axe throwing place, or a quick indoor golf place that's, doing 1.75 in rev, right? And I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to optimize them. I'm not going to scale them. I'm just going to leave them there and hold them. And I think eventually what's going to happen is Alejandro is probably going to maybe stumble across something, or he's going to invent a new idea that has a 9-figure possibility behind it, and he's going to scale. And he may turn everything else off at the time and then focus all in on that. So all I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of different approaches and there's a lot of different kind of ways of doing it. So I think there's a good mix here as well. I'm so sorry, man. Continue. I had to go on that tangent.
No, you're good, brother. I do appreciate your approach as well. And in fact, your goal is always going to change along. It's going to change along the journey. That's inevitable. You will change because you're going to set a goal now based off the current knowledge you have. And then in the future, along the journey, you're going to acquire new wisdom and new knowledge and meet new people like Sam. That's going to make you know what? F this. I don't want to run multiple businesses. Maybe I just want to do 1 or 2. And I think that's the approach I'm working on, Sam, because I've actually turned down a few other businesses' ideas, and it was really hard to say no to them because I know I can really bring value to them. But I've been like, the journey that I have been on, I've partnered with so many different type of personalities, different type of people, and a lot of them is just not as easy to work with. Not because they're bad humans, more because we have different visions in how the business should actually work. And that's just headaches for me, man. I'm like, man, I want to be like Sam saying, bro, I'm just going to focus on one thing at a time. So now I'm focusing on probably just 3 businesses, what I'm currently working on. Everything else I'm just saying no to, or just putting it on hold right now. But it really, again, it's both approach are right. They're correct.
Let me ask you this, man, because I'm really actually curious on this one, your take on this one.
Yeah.
Why one approach versus the other? Like, they both have merit, right? And there's people, William Arnault, who is I don't know if he is currently, because this number is always changing, like who is the richest man on earth. I don't know if he still is, like, currently right now as this moment, but he was basically this past year. He overtook the throne. And interestingly enough, so his approach to business is he owns all of the high-end designer firms. Like, he owns like Versace and Gucci and whatnot. So like the company that owns all of those companies, he basically owns that. And so he hasn't gone and created, he's not Mark Zuckerberg. He hasn't created Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, one of the best lines by Hormozi was, Mark Zuckerberg didn't create Facebook and become a billionaire by buying Airbnbs on the side. He did it by only doing freaking Facebook. But we have William Arnault, who's doing the complete opposite approach, which is, let me go and acquire other businesses that exist. So let me ask you this, man. Are you, and this is so tangential, I'm just curious, and we're going to get to the questions, guys. And I actually have a ton of questions that we can also dive into from a Q&A that I did recently. Where do you stand on the being a business founder or a lot of what people are talking about now, which is just acquiring businesses that already exist. What's your personal take on that?
Definitely acquiring businesses that already exist, 1000%. Yeah,
So, okay, now why? Why specifically?
dude, because being a founder is hard as shit, bro. That's a lot of work. Going through the freaking struggle in the beginning. That's a lot of freaking work. And I came to realize, bro, I've actually seen a few businesses that's actually making a lot of money, tons of money. I would say like 3 million a year plus. And I would give them advice on how to make more money. So I'm like, wait, why would I try to do this, start over, go through the struggle when I can just acquire it and make it better and make more money? It makes no sense because that's what I enjoy, Sam. At least from my years of entrepreneurship, is what I do enjoy is solving big problems. I don't really enjoy the firing people, hiring people, managing people, starting from scratch, invest in, lose your money, wait 3 years for you to actually start seeing some consistent profits. Nah, I just rather acquire it right then and there, instantly start bringing revenue, improve it, make more money, perhaps even sell it or just keep it for a longer time period.
So I love it. I love it. So, and here's the thing, and here's where, and I actually agree largely with you. And I think 90% of the time the answer is truly going to be based on, let's work with what's already there, right? Let's take what's already there. To your point, like being a founder, guys, I'm a founder of a business and it is difficult. It is hard as shit. Like we started at zero. We had no proof of concept. And we're growing massively through the roof. Now, here's the reality of being a founder. Being a founder, in my opinion, is only worth it if you absolutely actually know what the hell you're doing. That's another big thing that people don't talk about. People think that they're going to be a founder and they're going to, be the founder of like the next Facebook platform or the next Zillow or the next Turo or the next whatever the hell it is. And usually what ends up happening, and I see this a lot with other young founders, is their ideas absolutely suck. Their ideas absolutely suck. And Alejandro, you know about this business that, I can't publicly disclose, but you know a lot about it. And you know that in the business, we very much have a very unique product market fit. There is a blue ocean in this space. There's a lot of room for someone to come in and take it up. And it's why we're doing it. It's why I'm sticking to it. So I
Yeah.
think, when we look at the two, it's like, do we create something new or do we just go and find what's already out there? Go find the lawn companies or the pest control companies or the pool guys, and then help them scale, and help them optimize. The reality is they're both right, and I think a lot of it comes down to how good of an entrepreneur are you. Now, there's people who like Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg now is buying tons of other businesses, right, through Meta. Should he have spent his time ever when he was young buying other businesses? Hell no, because he had such a phenomenal idea and this is so critical, a phenomenal ability to perform on that idea. You may have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have a phenomenal performance capability behind you, it's useless. It's worth jack shit. Now, if you have all the ability in the world, but you can't creatively think and you can't look into a marketplace, find a product market fit, look for blue oceans, understand your competitive advantage against the people who have monopolies in the space, you can't figure all that stuff out, then you're probably not the right person to be a founder. And that's nothing against you. It's just we play to our strengths. And right now, interestingly enough, man, I really am identifying and enjoying being a founder. Like it's cool because from if it works, now it's a big if it works, the cool thing about being a founder is you come in with some insane bragging rights too, right? Because here's the cool thing, in my opinion, about being a founder is that you created something from nothing. You literally willed it into existence, and that is huge. So without further ado, I mean, we've been 20 minutes in. I think it's time, to get into some Q&A.
Let's do it. I've seen some great questions on here already. Something
You
about
want to you want to
VA.
lead us into the first one?
Yeah, let's do it. I have Carson Reese. I apologize if I mispronounce it. Do you think it's worth hiring a VA cold caller with all the regulations coming into play, or should I invest the money into inbound lead PPL? This is a really great question. and I've done both SMS and Sam. I'm sure. I mean, I think you kind of skipped over SMS. You said F that. I'm going straight into PPC, sir. But I remember when SMS was the shit. Like you can literally start sending people messages, and you'll get a deal that same day, if anything. But now you have all these registrations. You have to register your company. You have to EIN number. Give them a template of what you're going to be sending the um the potential seller, and you get blocked. Out of I would say out of every campaign we do with text message, about 18%, 18 to 20% of those text messages we send actually respond back. So 80% of your leads are going to shit unless you want to recycle, try a new number, try a new this. Back then it's like upload, send, text message blast, no problem. Hey, I'm not interested in selling. Don't call me. Okay, no, cool, no problem. You move on. Now it's like you're gonna get blocked every single time by the carriers. There's sometimes that your messages doesn't even get to the seller, and sometimes all your numbers are going to be spam. You can buy a fresh new number today, and if you don't have the right business structure or register your number correctly, it gets spam that day, and you have to go recycle it again. Having your number spam affects your business a lot, especially if that's your only source of leads. Now, I've done PPL. Now, something you have to understand, Carson, is it depends on your budget and it depends how fast you need the money. For me, let's just say if I was straight broke, don't have anything, I'm just going to start cold calling. I'm going to cold call. I can do this. All it takes is my time, maybe $90 a month. You think, Sam, or the dollars nowadays, 90 to $100, something like that?
Per lead, or
No, just a dialer to get like a software to cold call.
Oh, no, dialers are more expensive. The two best dialers right now in the marketplace are going to be Ready Mode and Batch Dialer. Both of them are going to cost you for the system and probably at least 10 to 15 phone numbers over $300 a month.
Jeez. Yeah, the price are going up, sir.
Massively.
Yeah. So, and when you start doing cold calling SMS, Carson, it's going to take about 7+ months, 7 to a year for you to actually start seeing some profits. Doesn't mean you won't make money the first month. Doesn't mean you won't make money the second month. It just means like on average, when you do that 12-month cycle, you're going to be like, dang, I actually only made like $2,000 doing this, right? Because you may make $10,000 one month, and then for the next 3 to 4 months, you make nothing. You're spending money on all these expenses, VAs, and all this good stuff, and you just didn't really profit well. And then PPL, I love PPL leads because it's incoming leads. It's just something when Sam started the business, he was like, dude, I'm going straight into the people that want to sell. I started from the cold calling stuff. So it's a completely different approach. And PPL, it takes about 1 to 3 months for you to start actually seeing some profits coming in. So it's a lot shorter time because people are actually raising their hand saying that I am interested in selling. How can we work together? When it's cold calling, yeah, I might consider selling for the right offer. It depends. You call me, what's your offer? So you get all this stuff. Both system works. I would say for me, if budget wasn't an issue, I would definitely do PPL, PPC, and then cold calling on a very niche list if I was to go acquire those assets. And I rather much do SMS because you get more response rate on the SMS. However, cold call, even though it's a lower response, it's a higher quality lead than an SMS. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
I don't know if you have love this. So yeah, and you guys know, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm about to really soon. We're gonna in a couple of weeks actually. We're gonna be doing Marketing Secrets, which is my favorite masterclass. It is the biggest one. It is the best one. It is the one that the people hate me the most for, because I literally it's insane how many gurus we can put out of business with it. So. I'm going to keep it short here because I also don't want to spoil Marketing Secrets too much, but I am very tapped in with what's going on in marketing. Guys, it's important to know this. Marketing is cyclical. What's working now may not work in 5 years. What was working 10 years ago doesn't work now, XYZ, right? There's always a new player. There's YouTube ads, TikTok ads, geofencing, IP address targeting. There's a new damn thing every freaking 5 minutes. So here's what I'm going to say. Cold calling will probably not go away for the next 10 to 15 years minimum. Now, what's going to happen with cold calling and how you do it is what matters. So would I kill cold calling? Hell no. Cold calling is actually something we're tripling down on. And I want to make sure I don't spoil things too much. I will say this because I've said this publicly and I've already kind of spoiled it a little bit when I said it publicly. SMS is completely effed. So anyone who's advocating for SMS is probably selling you a go high level CRM. Sorry, just it. They're like, yeah, well, if you use AI chatbots, your SMS is going to work. Guess what, guys? Verizon and T-Mobile, they have their own AI too, and they've got about $20 trillion to train it, and it's better than yours. Sorry, just the way it is. So, and also, it's very important to know that carriers are actually carriers are participating in the legal system finally, and they are not doing it in favor of people who are SMS blasting. They're doing it against them. So marketers are being cracked down on. Cold calling is fine. Cold calling is actually performing really well if you know how to do it right. So I'm going to say this. The answer is no more bulk marketing. You cannot put 25,000 record lists into a dialer system and dial 10 phone numbers at a time. You do that, you're just screwed. There's no way around it. You're bulk marketing. It's going to set off every potential firewall that all the carriers have, that all the systems have. You're done. It's not going to work. So cold call, but you're not going to cold call 10 lines. Cold call, single line dial. That's actually king right now. So cold calling single line dial is absolutely elite. It is performing at a really high rate. Why single line, Sam? That sounds like, it's going to take forever. It absolutely is. Now, single line dial to, yes.
I was going to add there when you're on the single dialer, because that's actually what I'm doing, is also add multiple numbers on that campaign as well.
Yep. And what you're doing, yeah, when you do that, what you're doing is you're bypassing firewalls because one, you're cycling your own phone numbers, you're not getting caught in spam. You're actually prioritizing your connect rate. And I'm gonna tell you guys, and I had this talk very recently with someone, guys, like when I do my master classes, I do my research. I literally had a talk with someone who works for T-Mobile, and we literally were talking about like the internal firewalls they have for like spam regulation. One of the, you guys want to know one of the biggest things they're cracking down on is multi-line dialing. That is it. It's one of the easiest, quickest indicators. Single line, they can't crack down on single line. It's extremely difficult to. Why? Because it looks like an organic phone call, one-to-one, just like a normal phone call. If I call Alejandro right now with my cell phone, it's a one dial, single line dial, right? If you set your dialers to the same capacity, you're going to bypass most firewalls. It's actually going to be really good, and you're going to have the highest connect rate. So cold call with a VA, phenomenal. Stick with it. It's actually one of the most efficient. It's probably going to perform better than it has in the last couple of years from what I'm seeing. You just have to do it right. So single line dial to niche data only. If you go pull a 25,000 record list off PropStream, I'm sorry, you're just wasting your own money. Now, I'm going to be very clear here with PPL. Okay. Because PPL, that stands for pay per lead, is going to companies that are already running ad campaigns. They're running nationwide Google ads, Facebook ads, whatever the hell it is. They're generating these quote unquote inbound leads. And that's the assumption. And they're going to sell those leads one off at a time to you. And then you can just pay a couple $100 for the lead. And historically, PPL leads are phenomenal. I don't know a single person at scale right now who isn't dialing back their PPL through an agency. Because when you do PPL, you're working through an agency who's doing all the work. You're paying per lead. So someone has to go do the hard work for you. Almost all of them are turning into scams. Almost all of them. And a lot of them, because they're no longer advertising as inbound leads. What are they advertising? Just leads. So a lot of these agencies, even some of the big ones, and I know some of these names, and Carson, you may be in a program or a community that's maybe highlighting some providers for PPL, and those PPL companies are getting caught with their pants down because they're generating leads, not through Google ads or Facebook ads, but through text messages. Now, if they're selling a text message lead for $400 or $500, which a lot of them do, is that really worth it? Are you going to have the same kind of results in your KPIs? No. So in my honest opinion, PPL companies are usually not worth it at all. Myself and everyone that I know who's crushing it even more than me, we're all dialing back PPC and PPL. And so are our mentors who are doing multiple millions. So stick with what's tried and true, man. Cold call, it's not going to go away for a very, very, very long time. You just have to adapt how you cold call into the data specifically. Funny enough, guys, I'm just going to say this. Your data is the DNA of your business. You have shit data. Everything else you do is just like, it's going to suffer more. Let's move on to the next one. I'm going to find
Sam, what do you recommend for people to go get PPL or cold callers and stuff like that?
So one, I actually don't recommend anyone go and do PPL. We've completely killed PPL in my business entirely. It doesn't mean that there's not good companies out there that do it decently. I'm at a point now where a company that I personally used to recommend because I've personally used it and scaled with it. And I know other people who have historically only used that provider and they've done 7 figures with that provider. We're all finding the same thing that these, and this was like the best agency. It's something that you and I have talked about in the past. They just got caught diluting their lead pool. They just got caught reselling the same leads to multiple people. So there's no exclusivity. So right now, I'm being completely honest, and this is a spoiler for marketing secrets, I don't recommend PPL whatsoever. Just don't recommend it. There's a ton of things that have higher ROIs that you have way more control of. The problem with anytime you work with an agency is you basically have to give them your money and trust them. And I'm a huge advocate of trust but verify, but also just if you can be educated and own the marketing channel yourself. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in marketing secrets in a few weeks. So let's do the next one. What's another good question?
How did you overcome challenges and setbacks in your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I think this is Daniel, if I remember correctly. Daniel, I want you to be more specific on this question because right now it's so open-ended that Alejandro and I are going to sit here for the next 3 hours answering that, and we don't have a ton of time. So I'm going to skip over this one because I want you to come back and just make it a little bit more specific so we can give you more specific answers because there's a lot there, man. It's like what challenges, how many, mindset, financial, business, partnership. There's a million different roads to go down there.
Yeah. And just to give you a quick answer without any information, it's part of the journey. It's inevitable. You're supposed to have setbacks. Yeah. How do you deal with them? You accept them. You move forward by accepting the mistakes.
Yeah. And what I want you to do, Daniel, if there's something specific in your business or in your journey right now in the season that you're in, that's like, becoming an obstacle, tell us about that and we can give you more tailored advice there. But let's go to another more specific one here. Again, from Carson. Let's go. Go ahead.
No, I skipped over one from Cornell as well. What advice do you have for someone just starting in the business world?
I'm gonna be a little bit, and I mean to be nice about this one. We've probably covered this topic for 5 hours on Think Big. In terms of like just getting started, we have entire episodes dedicated to this. So Daniel, love you, dude. There's a ton of answers. Get into a team, jump on a team, avatar discovery first, clarity, figure out, what's going to be your most immediate hurdle, whether that's finances, mindset, ability, experience, XYZ. We've done whole episodes on this. So I want to get into something a little bit more specific. Okay, Carson, again, any advice for someone working a W-2 trying to scale a wholesale operation? So yes, the truth is this. So we always talk about whether you have time, money, or experience. Right now, you have no time. Okay. And depending on how much money you have in your W-2, you may have, what I want you to do is play to your strengths. Something that people don't talk about enough. So people hate their W-2. They want to get away from their W-2. Very often your W-2 is your superpower. It allows you to become, it allows you to have the money to market. But let's just say you're like, Sam, my W-2 doesn't pay me a ton of money. How am I going to afford all these other things, right? Like I make okay money, but I don't make a ton. Guess what? Your W-2, your income in your W-2 also makes you financeable. So you can go and get business loans. So you can actually go and get access to capital through business credit stacking, all these things. And your W-2 is your ticket at the door that will allow you to go into a small business lending company and then go and get $50, $70, $100,000 in access to capital. And now, is it going to be really that difficult for you to scale your wholesale operation? Hell no. Wholesaling is a sales and marketing business. It is marketing, lead generation, sales, and the fulfillment is actually almost free, usually because we're selling the deal to someone else and making our profit on the back end. I want you to focus on how can you leverage your W-2 specifically to get access to more capital, right? Because you're saying mindset, schedule, outsourcing. The answer is this: mindset wise, like I don't see much of a mindset issue truly, because you're not spending time doing the business because you don't have time to do the business. So your answer should be this, in my humble opinion: it's how do I get $100,000 of capital to spend? How do I get the blueprint for what a scaled wholesale operation needs to look like? How do I get the answers? And then 3, since I have the 100K, I just need to enact that blueprint and spend the money. Guys, you can start this business tomorrow. As long as you have the money for it, you can start the business fully automated and systematized and scaled right off the bat. Like, I know people who've done it. It really just comes down to, do you have the money and do you have the blueprint? You don't even need to have the time. I know people who are doing over $1 million a year in wholesale, and they've never spoken to a seller in their lives. So, Alejandro, what do you feel about that?
I would say, Carson, just depends, like Sam was saying, what capital you have. I always have a lot of people that ask me that same question, and that's actually one of my lead source. So this answer may sound kind of biased, but I do have people that would invest into the marketing and then just plug it into my wholesale company, and then we do everything for you. All you need to do is just have patience, have the marketing for it, and then that way you can learn from us. You can see the ins and out. You can see what's going on behind the scene. You can learn. You can ask questions. You have access to our team. So that's something you can do, and that's kind of like a cheat to get started. Take that information, and then eventually you can start from the money you're making with us. You can start delegating and eventually not need us anymore. The goal is not to be partner forever. The goal is to get you started, help you get started. We can benefit from that, from getting more leads coming in and more money, obviously, and then eventually you can go on your own. So that's a take you can have.
Dude, I love it. Alejandro, are you going to be able to go potentially late tonight?
I can.
Okay, because we have fire questions, bro. We have a lot of questions and a lot of good ones too. So I definitely want to hit some of these. Okay, but let's start getting through them. Ray asks, how did you come across the opportunity to get involved in that business you were talking about? Do you have an NDA with? A great question. So a lot of people that if I were to ask this, a lot of people, and I've asked this before in front of rooms of people who are newer in the industry, I always say, like, hey, who wants to get into small business acquisition? Who wants to go and get equity in all these other businesses? And everybody wants to, right? And then they don't realize that, guys, what did I just mention? Time, money, experience, right? People think I'm going to go and, make money in wholesale, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get equity in in an axe throwing location or a bar or a restaurant just because I did well in real estate. And it's really not the case at all. You have to still bring something to the table to all of those. So how did I attract that opportunity? So a little bit about me, if you guys don't know, I have a master's degree in business scaling. So I have an executive MBA, an executive master of business administration, which basically just means I was just theoretically taught how to scale businesses in college and university. And that was cool. I just really learned it more like kind of doing it. And there's businesses broken up into multiple kind of facets, right? There's sales and marketing. There is fulfillment and operations. There is the finances and legal, right? My specialty, or what I'm naturally good at, like I get most of it, and I'm probably, I would say, half decent at all of it. But what I'm really good at, what I personally thrive on, it's why Marketing Secrets is my best masterclass. I'm really good at sales and marketing. I'm really good at understanding how to market, how to generate opportunities, leads, and close those leads to generate money. That's like what I'm good at. If you look at guys like Alex Hormozi, the reason why Alejandro and I probably resonate a lot with Alex Hormozi is because he actually has the exact same avatar as Alejandro and myself. He actually is a specialist at sales and marketing. 100 million offers, 100 million leads. They're both sales and marketing based books. And his next book, which is going to be about the money side of things, is the other side. He's really good at generating opportunity, and that's what I got really good at. So now when I talk to business operators or people who are struggling with their business, they usually have operations really, really cleanly locked in. And they just don't know how to optimize marketing, sales, lead gen, all that kind of good stuff. They don't understand how to basically start an organic campaign and turn that into $1 million in revenue. These are just things that I naturally, like my brain is wired that way. That's my specialty. Now for you, the game can be, what is your specialty? Maybe you aren't a sales and marketing guy and you aren't even an ops guy. Maybe you don't like managing human beings. I hate managing people. That's why I like working with marketing. I like working with like digital media and like understanding how to sell stuff. Maybe your specialty is you're a phenomenal people manager, so you'd be really good on operations on the back end. Or maybe you're crushing it in real estate wholesale or real estate fix and flip, and you're making 10 million, and your job is, I want nothing to do with anything, but I'm going to pay all the bills. I'm going to pay for the lease. I'm going to pay for the office building. I'm going to pay for the payroll. I'm going to pay for the ads, right? And then you can come in as a financing partner. But for me, the opportunities come to me because I am good at marketing. That's my wheelhouse, I would say.
Beautiful.
Okay, next one. Let's do it. Let's crush through these. I don't know if this is Jamie or Jaime. I'm so sorry if I got your name wrong. He asked Alejandro what kind of businesses is he into. Alejandro's into all of them. I don't know if you necessarily want to get into that.
No, well, sure. I mean, it's for me, jumping into other businesses, they have to be somewhat involved in the companies that I'm currently working on. So, for example, if I have a wholesale business, I know we need dispositions, I know we need transaction coordinator, I know we need closers, I know we need marketing or VA cold callers. So, if I can be involved and separate those entities into a new company and vertically integrate it, right? So when people, hey, I don't really want to work, I don't need you as a closer, but who's your TC? Well, here's this company. Who do you use for your cold callers? Well, here's this company. What about closer, man? What if I just need some help with closing deals? Well, here's this company. So that's pretty much how I got involved. It's just extending those to bring more opportunities when one of those departments are needed. So I hope that makes sense. I wouldn't jump from let's wholesale to, oh, let me start a car business. No, it's too much time, too complex for me to even go outside to do that. So any other business that I'm part of, I'm always going to make sure it's involved in the current world that I'm in, so that way I'm not too distracted from other stuff.
I love that, dude. I love what you said there. I had this talk with one of my business partners for the other business that I'm scaling. In that business, we were having this conversation like, hey, once we've crossed the bridge there and we've, maybe sold that business, we're trying to make a very sizable exit on that business the next 3 to 5 years, ideally. And then we're asking the question of like, what's next after that? And is it the laundromats? Is it the car washes? And I'm currently thinking, no. Because like you mentioned with the car sales, like you've been in car sales, about all the crap that goes into it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm at a point now where you're like, hey, if I do anything, I think you're going to feel the same way as me, is if I scale a business, crush it, sell it, I will never jump on an opportunity vehicle that isn't more scalable than the last. Yep. I'm obsessed with growth and evolution. So I'm not going to, create a business, sell it for 20 million, and then spend the next 2-3 years of my life trying to, grow a business that can't be worth at least 50 to 100 million. For me, growing is always really critical. Love that. Great one. I'm just going to hit on this. Yeah. Some people just start companies and move on because they suck at scaling. Absolutely. They're phenomenal starters. There's phenomenal starters, phenomenal managers, and then phenomenal scalers. You have to understand what you are. You can be a little bit of everything, but you have to really know with clarity what type you want. Anthony Johnson asked, what kind of business is wholesale? Wholesale businesses are sales and marketing. It is not a real estate investment business. You have no fulfillment. You are a sales and marketing company. You generate leads and close them and transact on that. I'm going to fly through this. Colleen Kempa, how do you market to divorce leads? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying this again. You're going to do niche marketing to divorce leads depending on where you're getting it from. So if you're getting your divorce leads from a fresh, like reputable source and not like a bulk provider, then you want to do niche marketing to it as long as it's fresh data. So that's going to be things like single line dial, cold call, direct mail, door knocking, very one-to-one output. Let's go. I'm going to fly through some of this stuff. Alejandro, are you okay with me just like flying through the marketing questions? Because that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's fine, brother. Is RVM still okay? I haven't done RVM in about 3 years.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah,
RVM it's a great way to get sued. I'm just going to say, don't do RVM right now. Yeah. It may come back in 5 years. Right now, it's a phenomenal way to get sued, and it's expensive. I would not recommend it whatsoever. Okay. To recommend getting testimonials from the seller. Oh, Peter, this is a great question. Just closed a few deals in my local market. How would you guys recommend getting testimonials from the seller? Ask them.
I had a, I had one. I have a seller that I've done. Well, a couple of sellers that I've done creative deals with, just depending on the state, Arizona, Texas, and I always asked them, "Hey, I know your time is very valuable. If obviously this is after a very successful transaction, you definitely want a testimony from someone that you bumped heads over and over. That'd be the wrong thing to do." But I'll ask him, "Hey," because I have a credibility email, kind of like our mentor put together for us, and I put it together and I put their contact information. Hey, would it be okay if any of these sellers give you a call in exchange for a fee if the deal go through or anything like that? Like, yeah, dude, I'll do for free. It doesn't matter. But yeah, of course, I'll take a fee. Heck yeah. So that's one way you can do it, or you can just ask them if they'll be okay with it anyways. Since some people just do it for free. I just
Yeah,
like to thank people for their time because I know everyone has freaking inflation, bro. We gotta buy some groceries.
yeah, I would say this. Testimony wise, here's another thing about testimonies. I'm gonna be completely honest. I've never gotten a single testimony from a seller. Like I should. I'd probably have. I could potentially have like 200 testimonies now, a little bit over 200 testimonies if I did it and we SOP'd it, we made it a priority. I don't. I haven't. I have no desire. Like it's not going to move the needle for me really. But I could see how it could help you a lot just in terms from an online digital presence. Also from a legal standpoint, usually if sometimes maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, seller does some dumb crap, you guys go to court and you can pull out this video where it's like them with a glowing testimony of working with you. I've seen personally teams use testimonies also just to protect themselves from a legal standpoint. So but how do you get them? I would say just ask. Honestly, if you're really helping the seller and you're serving them and they feel like you're serving them, usually a 30-second video testimonial is not going to be a problem at all. Flying through this. Sam mentioned on his story, I love it when people pay attention to my IG stories, that he would start over his wholesale business with direct mail and single line cold calling to fresh county data. What are your thoughts on in-house versus? So that first part, absolutely. If I was to restart my wholesale business tomorrow, I would do direct mail. I'm not going to tell you what type of direct mail though, because direct mail is a very general term. That's for marketing secrets. I would 100% do that. What are your thoughts on in-house versus outsourced marketing? So I think you mean, do we use like a mail house or a call agency, or do we like hire the callers ourselves? I would say this, it depends on the marketing channel. Direct mail is direct mail, right? It's a piece of paper that gets mailed out. If you use an agency, they're going to get it at a cheap price. They're going to put in a margin fee for themselves and they're going to mail it out. I think you use a mail agency. Like I see people who send out their own mail or handwrite their own mail, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like it doesn't make any sense. And when you look at the aggregate of how much work goes into it, into doing it in-house versus just outsourcing it, trust me, the 20 cents of difference per mailer, worth it a million times over. Now, with the agency for calling, there's only 2 cold call agencies that I've ever seen absolutely crush it. I don't want this thing to turn into a pitch fest. If you want like the referral, just DM me on the side or something on Instagram and I'll connect you. I've only used 2. I've used tons of agencies for cold callers. They've all sucked except for 2. I like them for PPL. I don't like personally. I stopped doing PPL. I know people who are all scaling back PPL. My mentors are scaling it back. Yeah, I would not get into it. That the digital marketing side of things, learn how to do that yourself. Trust me, if you want to get into also business acquisition and scaling other businesses, it's going to be really important for you to understand how to run and optimize your own ad campaigns. It'll save you, in my opinion, minimum, potentially multiple 6 figures a year at scale when you start learning how to run your own ads. Okay, cool. Boom, love that. Dude, our engagement's insane today. Yo, what's going on, Nate? I'd love to see Nate Freeze. Good to see you, brother. Sam is a unicorn. Absolutely. I absolutely am.
You want me to find those questions for you, brother, while you answer some of them? Because I have one. Nate and Cody has one.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. We have, if you need a quick cash conversion cycle, what marketing channel would you go with? Again, Nate, for me personally, this would be just depending on the position you're in, the situation financially, whether you have time, whether you have money. But if you have time, no money, I would definitely get into pull a list of a very niche list and cold call on a single dialer. That's the fastest way because I've done that before. I've gotten deals in that same first day. and within a couple hours it was already assigned, closed in less than 2 weeks, and I made money on that. That would be me. Now, if you have money but you don't have time, then what I would do, I would just go pay for some marketing and have someone else close those deals. That would be the fastest cash conversion cycle.
I would say this: your cash conversion cycle is going to depend on your marketing channel. So each marketing channel is going to have a different one. The fastest way to make money in real estate is to go find someone who has a contract, and then you go blast it out and find a buyer. Like, that's easy. Disposition wholesale, or daisy chaining, or micro wholesaling, astro flipping, or micro flipping, as it's called by Jamil, who we both love. That is the quickest way to make money in real estate. I haven't found anything faster than that. Now, that being said, is that a sustainable business model over a long period of time that is also predictable? No, because it's a referral business. So if you're asking, how do we go from direct to seller to disposition, so A to Z, the fastest way, it is going to be either door knocking or single line dialing. So very aggressive one-to-one outreach, where I am forcing this human being to get on the phone with me or get in front of me by door knocking or blasting their phone. One-to-one, single line dial or door knocking for closures that have an auction date in the next 30 days. Why? Because they have 30 days to figure it the hell out. So they're either going to catch up their arrears, sell the property, or lose the home. So I would go, why? Because they have an explicit timeline that they have to work in. So that's like, basically, excuse the language, but it's like going for the kill right off the bat. That's the fastest way to make money. Beautiful. From A to Z, if you're doing direct to seller all the way to dispositions.
Nice. The Dayton pool, what kind of question can I ask? Any questions when it comes to business? How did your How did your network your way into high level circles? Any methods besides paying for masterminds? Ooh, that's a great question for Sam.
Phenomenal question. Yeah. So I've actually spoken in front of communities. I've spoken on stage. I've spoken in front of a room that cost 150 grand to be in that room, and I spoke on it about how to get into high level rooms. It was really cool. So yeah, obviously you can pay the fee. I've paid $153,000 in total over the last 19 and a half months to get into masterminds, mentorships, one-on-one coaching, all that kind of stuff, CEO coaching. This year, I'm going to spend another $130,000 for masterminding and one-to-one coaching with a billionaire. So there is the paid way, right? And I'm a huge advocate of pay to play. Why? Because it just cuts through the door, right? It's simple. You don't have to figure out all this other stuff. I think the most slept on thing, it's so funny. People ask me this, Alejandro. They always say, like, Sam, like, what's the smartest thing you've ever done? If you had to like credit your success to one specific like tactical move, you know what it was for me?
What was that?
Start the Origin Story podcast. The Origin Story podcast, which is coming up on 2 years this upcoming month. It is a free podcast that I do with one of my good brothers, Logan Manzanares, a phenomenal human being. I love him to death. He and I started a podcast together just to hang out more with each other, honestly. And then it's a different podcast. Like, Think Big is a podcast for us to give value to you, right? It is we're here to help you. Origin Story is different. It's for Logan and myself, not live, pre-recorded, behind the scenes, private room, have private discussions with people who we want to have discussions with. So the cool thing about that is we find people who are, kind of on like this, on a hit list of people we want to network with. So we've had, the best in the world. I know every freaking guru, influencer, coach, leader in this industry and so many other industries. We've interviewed NFL players, all types of pro athletes, Olympians, movie stars, TV stars, like everybody. We interviewed a shark from Shark Tank, and that was for free. We did it for free. And the reason why is because our podcast gave them value in a very unique way, which is we were giving them attention, and they were getting eyeballs from marketplaces and an audience that they didn't have before. So a lot of people who we look up to in these rooms that we want to get into are consistent of people who are trying to build their brand, right? Because they all, like, people in these rooms, most of them understand the value of social media. So they will 100%, even though their time may be worth $50,000 an hour, they'll give it to you for free if they can guarantee that by coming on your podcast, they can grow their following by maybe a few thousand followers. So organic followers, right? I think starting a podcast is one of the best things to do. Now, here's the game. Everyone and their mom has a freaking podcast, and 99% of podcasts don't make it past episode 5. They don't even get to episode 5. So stand the test of time. Alejandro, you and I are on week 70 right now without missing.
That's
Podcasting
crazy.
is a game of consistency, guys. So if you're going to start a podcast, do it. Don't stop. It's in my opinion, it's a minimum 5-year commitment. I'm committed to this shit for the next 5 years. It doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter what car I drive. Like every Tuesday, me and Alejandro, me and Marlon, like we're going live.
You're gonna see us finally get some gray hair, man. They're gonna see that.
I will never get gray hair. I will die before I get a gray hair, bro. So podcasting is a huge one. Intangible networking, bring value. People at high levels are all looking for something. I can't go into it too much, but I have mentors who are above me I have a mentor right now who makes $25 to $30 million a year. And ironically, because of my podcasting, because what I've done, I'm more connected than this person is. I have a better Rolodex than they do, and I make a fraction of what they make. And so what's cool is that I'm giving them my ticket to the door with them is by connecting them with all the other people that I already know. Most of them I have a relationship through my podcast. So it's actually really cool. Most slept on strategy there is. So start a podcast, stick with it, and keep leveling up. Don't be the podcast that all you do is interview your homies all day, because it'll never grow.
Beautiful. All right. We have here when to start PPC and hire for acquisitions, ? Doing at least 6 deals monthly, but on the phone all day. Now, I would personally have a unique answer to that just because I've experienced it. I would say depending on let's say, for example, your acquisition guys needs to make $5,000 minimum. Well, make sure that you're bringing that type of revenue. What would you say, Sam, is a good multiplication to go by? 6 times the amount of what your acquisition needs to make? 8 times
to do what? To launch PPC?
Yeah, no, like for example, let's say if someone wants to make $5,000 a month, right? For an acquisition closer, how much should that company should be making to safely be bringing in that acquisition guy per month?
Okay, love it. Well, one, it's going to depend on which structure you go, right? So if you're going to go on a commission structure, it's going to be a little bit different. So we see this a lot of times. There's a revolving door in a lot of these companies, and a lot of investment businesses, because everything's commission based. It's really easy for you to bring people in. Shit gets a little bit more serious when you start, treating yourself like a legitimate business owner, and you have like salary, W-2 plus a tiered commission structure. So then you have to be a little bit more mathematical about things. So one, it all depends on the funding that you have. Like it really does depend on the funding that you have. So you have to couple, if you have $50,000 in spend and your market is, let's just say Las Vegas, Nevada, and you want to do PPC, and I'm only harping on PPC because you mentioned it. Cool thing is this: a marketing channel like PPC requires a lot less people. You have one closer with PPC, you can make $100,000 a month. Easy. Now, but here's the thing though, if you only have $50,000 to spend over 6 months, you actually factually do not have, in your market's Vegas, you do not have the money to launch PPC in Vegas and actually get leads to actually be able to pay someone who's on salary. This is all going to go in depth in marketing secrets, guys. This is going to be like a 5-6 hour conversation that day. The reality is this: when you look at something like PPC, I know there's a lot of people here who are just like, I don't know what you guys have been doing. Everyone apparently has been telling you about PPC. And I get it. The reality is this: PPC. Can I give a spoiler? Is that okay? Can I give a spoiler for marketing secrets? I'm going to be honest here. PPC is going to be completely washed out of this industry in the next 24 months, in my humble opinion, because any market that's worth being in, the average assignment fee coupled with or referenced against the required marketing spend per month to be competitive in said marketplace will not make sense for 99.9% of investment businesses. PPC is going to be a game only for hedge funds in the next 24 months in any market worth being in. So, I don't know that PPC is the answer for you, but if you're doing 6 deals monthly, you already know how to close. You should have been hiring people yesterday, and you should have been SOPing your business, blueprinting what an onboarding structure and an onboarding system looks like, tracking. Like, you're successful. 6 deals on your own as a solopreneur. I mean, like, you know what you're doing. You should be right now, in my opinion, spend the next 30 days of your life not talking to sellers, not doing anything else other than SOPing every single task possible that you do to generate that revenue. And then you go into a hiring phase. That's my take.
Yep. It might take, just to simplify without any context here, Aria Closer. If you can pay your acquisition guy 10, 15% commission and you're still profitable after all expenses, then you should definitely go ahead with the hire. That's my opinion on that. And then if he's not bringing you 2x, 3x the amount of what you were making by yourself, then you got the wrong acquisition guy. Okay. Let's see. This is a great question. Did you answer this already, Sam? You have mentioned hiring top down. How would you go about that if you started today, and where would you look for this person? That's a great question.
Phenomenal question. I'll say this. I don't want to go too much into this because we've answered this quite a bit on Think Big before, or at least I have. I know this is something that I talk about quite a bit. Don't hire bottom up, hire top down. The reality is every great CEO or every great business owner on earth is going to hire top down, and they know that that's the way to do it. If you value your time. If you don't value your time and you don't want to grow, sure, hire bottom up. You're going to hire top down by doing this. First and foremost, you need to understand what role you're hiring for. So if I'm going to break it into in the terms of a wholesale operation, wholesale, you have your sales and marketing on the front end, and then you get your dispositions on the back end. You have B2C conversations, business to consumer, business to like public, basically your sellers. You have B2C on the front end, and you've got B2B and selling the deal on the back end. So you'd have to ask yourself, if I need someone to manage the front of my business, right? Manage the sales team, you'd call them a sales director, a sales team manager, something to that effect. Guess what? You have a sales and marketing business and you need them to head a sales division. They're going to be a people manager. They're a people manager because the tasks that your team are doing are like they're sales, but people are doing them. So on that side, you need to decide. It's like, okay, cool. I have a B2C division of my business, right? And it's phone sales because that's what wholesale effectively is. I need to hire a sales director of some sorts, right? Or a CEO to run that side. And then on the dispositions and then the personnel and on the TC, that's all task oriented. Those are traditional ops and fulfillment. So for that, you're going to have a COO type profile or a dispositions director. You're going to look for someone who's a little bit more task oriented and they're able to understand how to direct tasks. Now, here's the big thing. You don't want just a manager. Right? If you're hiring top down, you need a director. And a director is someone who will build. And how do you arm them? You actually have to come to the table with the money and get the blueprints for everything they need to succeed and give it to them. And then tell them, hey, I've given you all the resources you need. I just need you to follow the freaking recipe that I've already paid a ton of money for. And I need you to go build it. That is being a director, right? There's a difference between being a director and a manager. Manager is going to be a little bit lower.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Do y'all have anyone in your business doing driving for dollars or reverse driving for dollars? No, I've never done it. I've heard it worked. Never liked the idea of driving for dollars. Yeah, no, not for me. I'll be the wrong person to ask for advice on that. Sam, do you know anyone or any advice on that?
I know a ton of gurus pushing it, and I know all of their businesses, and I would not listen to any guru who's telling you to drive for dollars. Sorry. There's a million better ways to do things, a million more efficient ways to do things. Usually those guys are selling you some type of product. I would run fast from anyone telling you to do that.
Perfect. If you started a business in YouTube, would you quit your job, get a loan, and go all in, or do it differently? Well, that really depends on the context. Let's just say you're by yourself and you don't have any family like kids or anything like that, and you're on your own. If me personally, yes, I would. I wouldn't take any loan. I would definitely go out and just go at it. Just go out and do whatever opportunity I can get. If I had to take out a loan, then it would probably just to be for my bills, so I can continue living and move on, continue doing my entrepreneurship. But I love the pressure. I love the pressure of holy shit, I need to get X amount of money by the end of this month, or I'm going to be kicked out on the street. I like that type of pressure because it moves me forward and it forces me to become someone that I didn't think I can become. And that has been for me personally. But again, not everybody can handle that type of pressure, and everyone is a little bit different. What about you, Sam? What would you do?
We always say publicly that we don't ever recommend anyone quits their W-2 and put themselves in a financially dangerous position. But, you and me are two guys who like having our backs against the wall. So I'll say this, I do believe in going all in. That's I'm a huge advocate for it. Now I think the reason why they're saying business loan, dude, is because they're assuming like, hey, I need to go and drop $100,000 on a freaking podcast studio. The reality is you don't need to do that, in my opinion. There's going to be a time in your journey as a YouTube business entrepreneur where you need the production quality needs to increase. Like my production quality definitely needs to increase, right? The only reason I'm not doing it is because like I'm not trying to be a YouTuber right now. I'm not focusing on it. Is there going to be a time where I'm a full-time content creator? Probably, like very soon, actually, in the next year or so. But right now I'm really focused on being about what I'm saying I'm about, which is scaling businesses. So I would say this before you start focusing on, like, let me go get a loan, put myself further into debt to go and like, buy a Black Magic camera that costs a few $1,000s and, deck out my room and all this kind of stuff. Ask yourself this, whatever you're going to talk about, right? Whatever your thing is going to be, are you even good at it? Like, that's a thing. Everyone and their mom can go and start YouTube tonight. But guess what? Like, Alex Hormozi, man, he was making $85 million a year, giving the highest level business value on earth, going viral doing it in his broom closet. In his camera was an old iPhone. It was an old iPhone that he plugged into his computer. So the reality is, I'm a huge advocate right now of whatever you're going to talk about. Let's say it's real estate. Before you go and start a podcast and before you go and start a YouTube channel talking about real estate, I mean, like, I'm sorry, there's too many bullshit people out there, in my humble opinion. Go and buy $10 million of real estate. You do wholesale. You want to talk about wholesale? Sure, document your journey. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of people, they like get too caught up being YouTubers and being influencers when they should get caught up making money first. Because once you make that money, oof, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to derail for a second here. Alex Hormozi did this phenomenal video where he talked about what changed. Like, how the hell did he just hit when he hit? Because people think it was overnight. He's been doing his podcast, The Game, for such a long time, for like, 4, 5, 6 years. And, he talked about like a couple of key things happened, right? He still did the same format, posting twice a week for like 4, 5, 6 years. And then two critical things that happened that allowed him to, quote unquote, blow up in his podcast. Number one is he went from talking about gyms to general business. You have a bigger applied pool of people who will listen to what you're saying. And then you know what he said was the second reason and the real one? Alejandro, did you watch that video or no?
No.
The second thing he said, which was probably the real answer for why Alex Hormozi blew up, is because he actually sold a business for $40 freaking million. That's it. That is it. He is about what he says he's about, and he's so damn good at it. He actually scaled a business, got a $159 million valuation, sold it for $40+ million. It gave a lot of credence to his content, gave a lot of credibility. No one can take that away from him. So like, I know for me, I know for Alejandro, like, we're very focused right now. And like, yeah, we'll make content, we'll do all these things. But the reality is we're so damn obsessed with like hitting certain numbers so we can actually, be legit. And I would suggest the same for you. So whatever you say you're going to talk about, go and be an expert at it. And if you're not an expert, become an expert. Trust me. To like invest in yourself and your time in doing it now, because when you get into the marketplace of being a content creator or an educator or whatever the hell it is that you're talking about, there will be a marketplace of competition. There's going to be other creators who also do and talk about the same thing, and then the audience is going to wonder, why should I listen to you instead of them? Now, if all they do is talk about it from a theory standpoint and you can show, hey, I scaled this shit and I sold it for 50 million, guess what? You will be the man, period. There's no way around it.
Awesome. Sam, how do you choose a new market to invest in, and do you build a team on the ground in that market?
Great question. I'm completely virtual. I do not believe in having an in-person team. Will I get boots on the ground? Absolutely. I am tripling down on certain markets, mainly the Las Vegas Henderson market, just because I have a lot of operators and people there. But I can go into any market. You guys can go, in my opinion, into any market that's like a median-sized community, and very quickly find whatever it is you need. You need photographers, homejab.com. You need plumbers, get on Thumbtack. You need, inspection. I mean, like, also on Thumbtack. There's really no reason to be locked to your local market, in my opinion. And I think you unlock scale being virtual. As far as the market, which market to choose, there's a million different, facets that go into it. There's real estate trends and appreciation and cash flow and all that kind of stuff. Also, I care about the marketing channel, right? So if I want to run a very lean marketing channel, does that marketing channel work in that market? Not every marketing channel will work in that market. So, there was a time when Atlanta, Georgia was the best market in the country for text messaging, but you could not get to a seller through cold calling at all. Did not exist. It was not working. So not all marketing channels work equally in multiple places. So that's also going to have an influence on what you do. If you want to go and play ball in, Vegas or Los Angeles, I mean, and you're going to spend money on direct to seller, you better have a big budget. because there's an insane amount of competition there. So it's the real estate trends and what's happening with the industry itself. It's marketing. It's do I have buyers? That's a huge thing. If there's no buyer activity, I'm not going to be there in the first place, because your buyers are your exit strategy. If shit hits the fan, you need to sell the deal or whatever it is. So I look for a lot of these things.
Awesome. At the beginning of your journey, how did you both time block and organize your day-to-day schedule? I would say for me, Mac, personally, when I first started, I didn't even know how to structure my calendar because I didn't know what exactly I needed to do. I just know what step I need to do to make money. I didn't know specifically on how step by step it was. Someone just say, "Hey, make calls and you'll make money." Great. I make calls. And how did I time block? I would lock myself into a room. When I first started, I started working for a wholesale company. I didn't start it from scratch by myself. I started from a wholesale company, lock myself into a room, make calls, make calls, make calls, make calls, watch videos on how to make better calls, make better calls, make better calls, make money, make money, make money. That's exactly what I would do. Then once I started my wholesale operation, I would do the same thing, lock myself into a room and just stay away from all distraction. Anyone that's working from home today, because I work from home today, working from home alone is a distraction because you will always have that voice in your head. Go to sleep, chill, relax, take a nap, right? Because it's so easy, it's so accessible to just go take a nap, go to sleep, go watch TV, go to the fridge, go see what's going on with your neighbors, etc. I would recommend working at an office, at a WeWork office, or go work with someone else. Go work in a wholesale company. And time blocking for me personally now is knocking it out early as possible. Like 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., 8:30 o'clock, I have no distraction because after 12 o'clock, something weird happens where people just hit me up for help or something that I need to do. And I no longer have any mental focus on what exactly I had going on. So for me, any time prior to that, I just knock it out early all the time. Anything for me personally to propel forward in my business, I knock it out early. What about you, Mr. Sam?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. I don't time block, and I still don't to this day. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Should I? Absolutely. I have a very similar natural approach to someone like Mr. Beast. Hermosi has very similar approach to this too. I think we're very similar in this. I wake up and I just try to shorten the amount of time it takes for me to get to work. So I'll wake up, and within about 30 minutes of waking up, I am on my first business call effectively every single day, 6 days of the week. And on the seventh day, on Sunday, I kind of work like half days, like 75% of the day. So I have a very simple way, and I try different things. I try to like optimize all the bullshit. And what I really found is this: the more times I look for routines, I get caught up looking for the routine and not actually doing the stuff that moves the needle. And when I just get back to the basics of just doing the shit that I know I need to do, I end up making a ton more money. So for me, it's really simple. My approach and my time blocking is this: I'm going to wake up and just work until I am basically cannot work anymore that day. And I will keep doing that every single day, day after day, day after day, day after day, until eventually my body completely tanks. Alejandro knows this. And I'll be like, guys, I'm sorry, I'm going to be dead for the next 4 days. And then like my body will completely tank, and I'll be dead for like usually it's like 1 to 3 days. And then I'll be good again. And then I'm back at it. Now, is that healthy? Probably not. Is that balanced? Hell no. But guess what? I'm in a season where I can't, cry and moan about healthy and balanced. I'm in a season that requires for me to grow as fast as possible. Now, I could try to be more healthy. I could try to be more balanced, but all that's going to happen is it's going to delay and extend the amount of time it takes for me to grow certain businesses to a certain level. And I'm just not willing to do that. So that's what works for me. I'm very much just like a shut up and do the work kind of person.
Let's do it. In y'all's opinion, who is creating and scaling a wholesale business for? It seems like that's the path a lot of people take, but what avatar does that actually fit? That's a great question. I think it's going to be very subjective and based off your experience. For me personally, if you're the person that's okay becoming someone new, let's just say, for example, I come from a background where, let's just say, we weren't financially stable at all. So for me, I'm okay taking the hard route, the hard route of going through struggles to become successful because I already know what it feels like to be broke and have nothing to your name. And if you're willing to perhaps lose a few friends, maybe lose a relationship, maybe do something completely different than who you are, be very uncomfortable, be stressful, being okay with someday whatever you build, someone might take that away from you. Some people out there may talk crap about you. If you can handle most of that stuff and you can be consistent and disciplined and not crawl up when all that stuff attacks you, I think that's the perfect person that can start a wholesale operation, at least for me, from my experience. Mr. Sam, what do you think?
I'm gonna be very guys, and I'm sorry if I seem very like curt with these answers. It just because I'm trying to get like to the point with all of them and not fluff them. I'm trying to take all the fluff out that I can because I want the message to hit. So the reality is this: wholesaling is just a way to make money. That's it. That is it. Are there other benefits like you get primary access to your own deal flow? 100%. There's a reason why, like, I have certain campaigns going in certain areas. I have zero intention to wholesale them, but I'm going to use my closers. I'm going to use my dispo. I'm going to use my TC. I'm going to use all of these people to feed what I need. But the reality is, at its core, wholesaling is just another business. I view it no differently than starting a pool care company or starting a direct mail company or starting a VA agency or whatever the hell. It is just a business that makes money. So if you're in a position where you understand this industry and you need active income and liquidity coming in, naturally wholesale is going to be one of the more easy ones because there's a lower barrier to entry versus something like fix and flip or buy and hold because you're not experienced enough. So I do like wholesale. I think it's a great thing for people to start in. It's up to you to decide if it's something you want to scale. If you decide you don't want to scale it because you understand how intensive it can be, and don't get me wrong, it is actually one of the hardest businesses to scale, in my opinion, from an applied practical standpoint. And if you decide that's not for you, that's totally fine. You just got to find out what is. And then the reality is you're moving on from something that you were really good at, potentially, to being a newbie at something else. And that's what people don't get. It's like, I'm going to get to a point where I'm doing 8 to 10 deals a month with wholesale and I'm making 6 figures a month and I'm doing well. But I understand that I don't want to scale this to 10 million, right? I just want to go and do something else that, makes the same money, whatever it is. And they go and do something totally different that they've never done before. And guess what? You're a newbie at that again. And now, as long as it took you to like get on wholesale and like perfect that, it's going to take you maybe near the same time, maybe a little bit less time to perfect the new thing. So just be aware of that. The reality is, like, wholesaling is, in my opinion, for everybody because it's an exit strategy. I think what you're asking is, who is scaling an acquisitions business for? I think everyone, if you want to, and also if you want to be a buyer, you should have your hands in an acquisitions business to some degree. Guys, I run my own acquisitions. We do it. Guess what? I also buy from wholesalers. I also buy from agents. I'm also at a point right now where I'm going to invest in other people's wholesale companies. I will fund their marketing so they can go into the market I need them to go to buy me deals. So, and that's not because I want to scale their business. It's just because I want to buy more deals. So that's me as a buy and holder doubling down on buy and holding. So it's like, even then I can be a lender and still be involved in a wholesale business because I understand all the business verticals that come from there. Yeah, we can go on with that one forever. That's a phenomenal question.
Perfect. Would you recommend mailing and cold calling data syndicate niche list? I believe this would be a great question for you, Mr. Sam.
Yeah, from a marketing standpoint, 100%. If you've got niche lists, you want to do pretty much niche mailing, niche calling, so no bulk stuff. So you're not going to put on a cold caller with a 10-line dial. You're going to hit it single line dial, very niche data, direct mail. And then if you can, like if it's a local market, door knock it, one-to-one dial. If you can, like hell, even text it. Because the beauty of niche data, and I'm going to be very specific to data syndicates data, is that it's the freshest data there is. And when you have data that fresh, you have a time window before like 99% of your competition has access to the same seller pool. You really want to do everything you can. So at that point, it's like, dude, send it direct mail, knock on their door, geofence, IP address targeting, whatever the hell you can. But you get it, and see, that's where it happens. Like you get such a quality data source then you need to follow it up with quality marketing too. So you're not just going to go and put it into a shitty text campaign. If you're going to do texting, that's fine. Make sure it's niche texting. Make sure it's niche calling, niche marketing, period. Great question.
Heck yeah. Did you just hit the dollar from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? No food, no rest. I did, yes, for me, but I did eat food at some point. Very small food, because when I first started, I popped Adderall. That's how desperate I was for money, to make money at the time. I've never popped Adderall, but that was one of the things my ex-girlfriend used to do. And there was a little bag right there in the kitchen. I was like, ooh, I might be able to focus more. Popped it, went straight into the dollar. Probably, I don't know what I ate there that day, probably like a sandwich or something. Have you ever had Adderall, Sam?
No, not yet. And it's funny. I have a close friend of mine who's running a business that's going to be worth $1 billion in the next 3 years, and I pulled an all-nighter with them working on one of my other businesses, and like it was getting to a point where I was tapping out, and they were like, "Hey, do you want Adderall?" And I'm like, "I don't know, what does it actually do?" Right? And they were like, "Well, you're going to turn into a freaking phenom." And I'm like, "I'm not ready to do that." So I don't think I ever will, to be honest with you. But if I do, I'll probably end up finding the next Facebook or some shit.
Have you watched the Limitless movie?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I gather, is that it's something to that effect.
It's something like that. Yeah. It's something like that. But I stopped taking it probably like a week after, and trained myself to naturally do it, which is really difficult to get to, but you can do it. I've been pushing offers to one market houses in SOFLO. I have no idea what that means. Usually
South
100.
Florida.
What, South Florida? South of Florida? Okay, awesome. Usually 100 plus days on the market. Do you think agent outreach is worth it? Yes, I think agent outreach is worth it, but however, I wouldn't advise you to keep it as your main and only lead source. I love agent outreach, but I hate agent outreach. It works. When it works phenomenal. And when it doesn't work, it's a headache. And I wouldn't stick to the 100 days plus, Nicholas. I would definitely just pull any on market low equity list if you're doing sub 2. Forget the 100 days plus. Is it higher motivation? Yes, it is. However, there could be a seller that placed it on the market and they only had one more month before pre-foreclosure, and you're going to miss that opportunity because you're doing 100 plus days. What about you, Mr. Samsung?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this question, but I just want to hit on this. Jay, I don't know what this was. I don't know what this was in response to, but she said sneaky. I just think that's funny. Okay, so I had a massive team doing direct to agent, and we crushed it. I'm gonna be clear here. Direct to agent with creative financing, it works. It's working a lot less. Okay, I had in one of the communities that I'm in the biggest direct to agent with creative financing sales team there is. We crushed it. I told my sales director when we were doing it, this is going to be a limited time thing. It's going to go for 8 months. We're going to milk it, and then we're going to dip the hell out before the carnage really truly hits. Carnage is hitting. The people who are doing direct to agent as their primary thing, usually, especially with creative finance, economy shifting, market shifting. Buyers are coming back even with high interest rates. Creative finance has lost its leverage standpoint against direct to agent versus like how it performed, let's just say 8 months ago. So I think right now, if you're doing creative, probably knock that off. And if you want to keep doing direct to agent, switch to cash. There's always going to be opportunity there. It's just a volume game. Generally speaking, though, I don't like direct to agent being your primary way of doing things because it is only referral-based business, and referral-based business is not predictable or scalable. It is almost impossible to KPI track in a very meaningful way. I'm sorry. I know one person who's doing $1 million plus in revenue with direct to agent, and that is the most skilled person I've seen. And I know about 300 people doing $1 million minimum a year doing direct to seller. Yeah. So I would say, and if you're adamant about doing creative financing with the agent aspect of it or whatever, because you like that it's super cheap or whatever it is, switch to expired listings. You're going to have more potency in that data set. It's going to perform better.
Carson asked him, is the VA services perhaps the one that mentorship we are in uses?
I'm in several mentorships, so I don't know which one you're talking about. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. DM me.
How much does a niche list cost on average? It depends. It depends what kind of list you're going to pull. But when I first started, I used to pull just to be conservative because I had to. I was close to broke. It would probably cost me $500 a month to pull a niche list, but it would be in multiple different markets in the same state. What about you, Sam? Did you start pulling lists, or you just went straight to PPC?
No. And it's fun. I'm gonna talk about it. We're only doing niche stuff right now. Actually, we've completely killed the ad side for real estate acquisitions because it serves no purpose for me in the markets that I'm in. I don't think it's
Okay.
scalable. So I'll say this: depending on the type of list that you get and where you get it is going to be different. So a quote unquote niche, you can go pull, like, people think they pull a niche list off of like a bulk data provider like a PropStream. That's not a niche list at all. It doesn't matter how much you stack it. It's not. It's a data set. No matter how small it is or how stacked it is, that basically 25 million people all have access to. I don't know how big their client pool is, but it's something to that effect, right? Some huge number. If you want to go niche to the point of something like, you want to go a little bit further in the niche and go in like predictive data sets, that's still not niche. They're usually going to cost a lot more. If you want to go like to the niche type of data sets that I work with, and I only work with like one type of data set, it can be for free if you do all the work yourself. And then if you start outsourcing and like hiring like a virtual assistant to help you out, or a runner, you're going to be spending at scale probably a few $1,000s a month. But then you can outsource it to a company that does all the work for you. Depending on the company that you use, there's multiple different ones out there. Some of them are egregiously expensive in my opinion, and the ones that I use are extremely affordable in my opinion. But it's going to depend on the list, where you get the list. There's so much more to it than just
Awesome.
a very quick answer. I'm so sorry.
Cool. Okay, that was great. Thanks, Sam. Been recording all my live seller calls to review, reflect, and refine. But when do I know they are dope enough to publish? Peter, I was the same person. I had that same mindset of not I'm only posting things that are high quality and or, are quote unquote dope enough. I would advise to post all the bad, all the good, medium, in between, whatever. Just post them all. Number one, the more content you put out there, the more the algorithm, Instagram, will push your profile and the more followers you would have. Number two, when you post a bad call, there's going to be someone out there watching that can give you the advice or the tips on how to better that call, which will help you massively to propel forward faster in your phone calls. That would be my answer. What about you, Sam?
I would ask, one, why are you doing it? Why do you want to? Do you want to be a salesperson? Are you just trying to showcase what you're doing? There's a lot of like intentionality there. So be intentional with it. If you want to be like a sales guy and you want to be known as a closer because you want to get more closing deals, or you want to, create a sales program, then like, cool, then just do all of it. Actually, no, then you want to be a little bit more specific with the ones that you do, because you want to make sure that like, hey, I'm actually closing this person. And hey, from a sales technique standpoint, I'm actually on the ball. So if that's your intention. If your intention is, hey, I just want to showcase my journey, then showcase the journey. Showcase like the stuff that sucks. Showcase you getting cussed out by a seller and them hanging up on you, because that stuff's funny and people can relate to it. So if your intention is to be like the next sales guru, then you probably want to be a little bit more filtered and wait till like, your technique is solid. You're getting the right result that you want out of the call, and like you're closing the seller. If it's just the purpose of like, I want to share my journey, then share it now. Share the ones that suck. They're the best ones. They're the funniest ones. They're usually going to be the ones that get the most engagement, right? Like,
Yep.
Yeah, like you closing a seller, cool, whatever. But it's like you getting cussed out by a seller, or a seller saying some out of pocket shit, like that's the stuff that usually gets the most engagement. Like I remember one of Daryl's most viral sales videos from a while back was when he had the seller who was just talking so much, and I literally was in the chat and I told Daryl, I was like, bro, you could get up, walk away, go for a walk, come back, the seller would still be talking. And this dude live, like, put the phone on speaker, set the phone down, got up, walked away, came back 10 minutes later, and the dude was still talking. And that video blew up. So just
Great.
it depends on your intention.
Yeah. Sam, can you put a link for the Origin Story podcast?
Yeah, I'll find that. I will find that and get that for you guys. Go to the next one.
Perfect. Let me see here. I feel like I'm a visionary, but I'm just not attracted to the sales world, talking to sellers. Nor do I feel like like closing would be my strong suit, but I feel like that's all these gurus advertise. Well, it depends, Joshua, what you mean as far as a visionary, because visionaries have multiple jobs that they do in the operations. Visionaries solve big problem. They do research and development, which I personally enjoy. I like researching and bringing ideas to the company. I like solving big problems. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in sales, but you can also be a great leader. And then like Sam say, hire up from up and down. Go hire someone that will do sales, depending if you're looking to open a wholesale operation. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Sam?
Yeah, so real quick, I just found it. I just dropped the link for the origin story. So if you guys, that link will take you to Apple, Spotify, whatever you guys have, so you can listen to the origin story. I always say some of my personal favorites. One that we recently did with Matt Higgins, who was a shark on Shark Tank. That one was phenomenal. Kent Clothier is a great one. Anne Marie Norton is Jerry Norton's wife, an amazing one that we recently did. Okay, I would say this: you don't have to be in love with sales, right? Like you can be a visionary who's big picture oriented and then not really care about it. Like I look at someone who's visionary. Ryan Pineda he's a true visionary. In the most honest of fashions, he really is a visionary, but he does not give a damn about talking to sellers. He doesn't want to. He doesn't care to negotiate. But he's a big picture visionary. So I think that the game really ends up being, how can you take your visionary tendencies and apply it in a meaningful capacity in your business? Maybe you don't want to do sales. Great, don't do sales. But if your business does need sales in it, then your job as a visionary is to how do I go find the person or the blueprint or the sales system that I can bring into my business. So if I'm a visionary and I don't want to talk to sellers, I don't want to manage a sales team, I don't want to listen to call reviews, all that stuff, guys. By the way, in my business, I don't listen to call reviews. I don't do sales trainings. I don't do any of that. I'm completely skilled out of my business. I'm super visionary and I was a great closer. I still don't want to be there for it. Why? Because I have an intention to how I build my business. So what did I do? I went and found a sales director who runs all that stuff for me. And my sales director, I didn't just tell him to go and create a curriculum on how to train people on sales. I went out and I bought one of the best sales curriculums there is in the industry. And I gave it to my sales director. And I said, hey, this is going to be your Bible. This is how you teach people sales. You follow this framework, this structure, because it's accountable, because it can be scaled, XYZ. And then I stepped away. So be a visionary. You don't have to be in love with sales and marketing at all. A lot of people they make that association. You don't have to be. Your job as a business owner isn't to like any of it or all of it. Your job as a business owner is regardless to figure it the hell out. That's really the game. So yeah, love that. So good.
Beautiful. Hey, I need some help with the listing where the agent and seller are open to sub two. I'm not in sub two / Gator. I'd love to help you. You can reach out to Sam and I. Sam, I don't know. Do you have like a link? Somebody will submit leads to you. I have a link as well.
Some help with listing where the agent and seller are open to sub two. Yeah, you should definitely work with Alejandro on that one.
Yep. Just reach out to me on my Instagram. It's at really Alvarez. I'd love to help you with that deal, close it, and see what we can do to help the seller out. Okay, I think that's it for all our questions today, Sam. We went 33 minutes and 17 seconds and 19 seconds of going over the time.
I say I want to do like one or two more. So I feel like we're on a roll. Can we do one or two more?
Let's do it, brother. Let's go.
Okay, let's see. So someone else, I want to hear from someone who's always here and who typically, I feel like we don't hear enough from. Jade, do me a favor. Ask a question that actually will impact your business, in a meaningful capacity. So I want to hear more from Jade. Okay, so I'm gonna answer Jade's question, but another one I'm looking at. So I'm looking at this question about South Florida. Be effective in a higher price market. Okay, so I'm gonna fire through this one. Sean Mendel asking if PPL is gonna be more effective in a higher price market. No, you have to be able to afford it. So you got to remember that in a higher price market, you're also going to have more market competition, which means your required ad spend per month on that space is going to be so much higher that you may be priced out of your own marketplace, and you may have to spend more than you can actually generate in net profits. You will run an unprofitable business, and yes, that is a thing. since I fired through that, I'm going to do this one because this is a good one. So Nicholas obsessed with South Florida. I currently have a VA calling off an off-market list, pre-foreclosure, high equity. Okay, agent. So it's going to be good for cash. Agent outreach. It's more of a second marketing strategy. Would you say South Florida is a saturated market? Yes. All of Florida is not all of Florida, but most of Florida is a saturated market. That's not a bad thing. I only play ball in saturated markets, but I have tremendous traction, and I have, $200,000 in profit, basically closing the next 30 days. And we're only in saturated markets. The reality is, how do you go into a saturated market and still bypass most of your competition? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. So I know people who are making $1 million a month in Phoenix, Arizona, and they're not outspending everybody. They don't have the biggest team. They're not the best, they don't have like the best sales strategies. They've just found other unique ways to dial in their marketing and get in front of opportunity that other people just haven't been able to, or haven't been able to consistently enough. So I would not shy away from competitive saturated marketplaces. As long as you have really solid marketing strategies behind it, that's going to be your competitive advantage. How do you feel about that one, man? How do you feel about saturated markets?
I don't believe in it. I don't believe in saturated market. I believe there's an opportunity for everyone. There's going to be that company that's spending $100,000, $50,000 a month in marketing and still miss a follow-up, and you will come in right behind them. Hey, I'm still interested in selling, because a lot of the things, and this is, I don't have such high operations, Sam, like other higher companies, but maybe you have some take on this. I think some of the bigger companies, they're so focused on getting that fresh data every single time to keep that consistency that they lack on the follow-up from older leads. Like if that seller's not ready to sell right then and there, follow-up bucket, they may miss on that, maybe not. And then you have smaller company that are talking to those follow-ups and you get a deal out of it. There's tons and tons of opportunities. If you go to a market right now, go to redfin.com, type in Dallas, Texas, and you'll see hundreds of homes for sale right now. So that's the same thing. Think about how many other sellers are thinking of selling without putting it in the market, or maybe sellers that don't want to put it in the market.
Boom. Yeah, very true. Very true. And a lot of the top guys who are actually crushing it aren't outspending, and they're not outperforming in any like one typical way, shape, or form. What they're really doing is they're understanding how to get in front of people before everyone else. And that's the biggest key I'm going to give you until we do marketing secrets. But we finally got our final question of the night, guys. We've been going on for an hour and 40 minutes.
Can I take this one in, and then I want you to leave us off, Sam, because I know you're gonna have some spectacular answers.
Okay.
Here. So Jade asked, let's talk the role of a closer. Do you guys have your closers also be in charge of lead gen plus follow-up, or do they solely focus on hitting the hot leads to get them closed? That is a great question. I personally only have my closer focus on hot leads to close, because that is what they're there for, to close. What the heck are they doing lead gen for? What? That's why you have marketing department, sales department. So they should only be focusing on closing deals. If you think about it, if you're going to have someone stressing out about finding leads on harder market, when you make money when deals are being closed, why would you take that time away from closing deals? I wouldn't do it. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I love it, dude. I'm gonna be completely honest, Jade. It's a great question, by the way. Your closer is an athlete, and he's your best athlete. Your closer in a acquisitions business or real estate investment business, or hell, even if you were like doing, I don't know, selling mentorship or doing whatever the hell you're doing, right? Your closer is actually your revenue generator, right? Your marketing department, your lead generators, your follow-up guys, what they're doing is they're generating opportunity, but your sales guy monetizes on that opportunity. He is your lead revenue driver. I want you to think of this person as like the Kobe on your team, right? Kobe, they're not just going to like put Kobe on the court like all day, every day and just gas him out. They keep him primed and ready to go for when they need him the most, right? You want your closers to feel potent, and they're honestly, I liken closers to athletes, right? Really high end athletes, they just want to prep for game day. That's it. I mean, like they'll do the work every single day, but like they look forward to game day. They want to perform on game day. Or closers are athletes, and if you start making them do lead gen and follow up, you're going to kill your sales team's morale. That's going to kill your business. And if you are in like wholesale specifically, or real estate acquisitions, you're in a sales and marketing business, your closer is your all-star. And if you have them doing mundane follow-up or lead generation, you're going to kill your team culture. They're not going to perform nearly as well. They're not going to be excited to work for you or show up and like really put their best foot forward. And then when opportunity is there, they're just going to drop the ball. So don't have your closers do it. You want to keep your closer as primed and ready as possible for whenever there is an opportunity. 100% have that clear separation. Like for me, closers also should be playing a big brother role with your follow-up specialist or your lead manager, basically helping them understand how to set up the closer for success. So it's not like a clear-cut division, in my opinion, where your closer, right? It's like you have a clear-cut separation, because here's the thing, it's a team effort, right? So the team still has to help Kobe like crush it at the end of the day. So how do you do that? The closer should be helping the people underneath him get the lead ready for what, like, he should be able to tell them right off the bat, here's what I need from you, and here's what this lead needs to look like before it comes to my desk, in order for me to have the highest chances of locking it up so we all eat. So I wouldn't muddy the lines at all with that one. Dude, that's it. We got through it.
Oh,
we
did it, man.
That was huge. Like, we had so many questions. Oh my God. Okay. Any last thing that you want to say before we finish this off, before I roll this out?
Just take action. Stop complaining. Stop blaming people. Take action. That's it.
Boom. There it is. There is one last question that I do want to hit from Cody Rose. When's Only Sam's going live? Real soon, man. We're gonna start beta testing. Get some pre-sale going on for all the people that want to get in. I'm just joking. So, guys, today was a huge one. Our good buddy Marlon is on a plane somewhere, flying somewhere, doing Marlon things. You guys know how he is. Alejandro and I decided that we were going to come on today, and we actually just wanted to give as much as we can. The reality is we sometimes understand that because we reinvest in ourselves and our businesses so much, we learn things that a lot of people don't, and it's actually our responsibility to share them. So if you got value today, which if you were listening, I know you did, I only have one ask, okay? That is, and I'm going to even leave Marlon out of this, because Marlon's like, in LA somewhere having the time of his life, and he's not hanging out with us right now. Go follow Alejandro, go subscribe to him, and then do the same with me. And then here's the thing, if you really got value out of this, here's what I want you guys to do. Just take a screenshot in like a minute, and then share it. And then say thank you. Say thank you to us, tag us, let us know. And we're going to keep doing epic shit like this. But with that being said, we love you guys. You guys are amazing. Go crush it. Go scale your businesses. Go make millions of dollars. And we will see you next Tuesday. Peace.